Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network. I'm coming to you from Kalamazoo, Michigan. And my guest today is Paige Rogers. I'm really excited to have Paige on the show. She's more of a local racer here in the Michigan, Indiana area, but she's doing some big things. And so I wanted to have her on, and so she could share with us about what she's doing and how she got to where she is. And so, Paige, I want to welcome you to the show. And the
Thank
first
you.
thing
Thank
I
you for
want you
having
to do is just share a little bit about yourself, where you live, how old you are, do you go to school, that kind of thing.
me. Yeah. So I'm 19. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana, but now I currently live in Concord, North Carolina, because that's where my race career has taken me. And I am also a full-time student. I'm a sophomore in college, pursuing a
Okay.
marketing degree.
And where do you go to school?
So I do online school through Indiana State University.
Okay. All right. So do you follow the basketball team at all from Indiana State?
Not from Indiana State. I like IU's basketball. I'm an IU basketball type of girl.
Okay. All right. Because I was following, let's see, I think it was IU, the team that did so well in the Sweet 16. So I
Yep,
was
they did well in the Sweet 16. They had a
yeah,
they had a good women's team.
yeah, a friend, someone that I know from back where I lived in Illinois, his daughter plays on that team, and so
Okay.
I kind of got interested and I was following them. So that's pretty cool. So online school, that's the thing nowadays, and it allows you to do so many more things.
It
You
does,
you don't
yes.
have to be on campus. So that's pretty cool. So since you're not at school, there's not really anybody there that you know really personally that knows you race. How about when you were in high school? What did you get any feedback or anything from the people that knew you were a race car driver?
Yeah, so my friends, my really close friends, they understood it. They understood that I'd be gone a lot or I'd be in the shop. Um, and people in high school obviously thought it was cool. Actually, I came back a few weeks ago and gave a few different presentations at the elementary school that I went to and the high school that I went to, kind of talking about my journey. So, everyone along the way throughout my academic journey has been a big, huge supporter of my sports career.
Okay, good. I like hearing that because sometimes, more times than not, I hear girls say, "Yeah, I don't really share it because they don't really understand." But
Hmm.
I think because we're in the Midwest,
Yes.
racing is a lot more popular, so I think it's more understood and more
Yeah,
accepted too.
I think sometimes they don't necessarily understand what's going on, but they're willing to learn. Like they might
Hmm.
not know exactly what the loads are or something, but
Yeah,
they know what's going on and they try to understand.
absolutely. So when you're not racing, what do you do for fun?
Oh, well, usually it's something involved with racing, so whether that be watching a race, but if it's nothing involved with racing, since I live alone now, it's probably golf. It's always been golf. I think that's fun. I just don't have anyone to play with now, so now I just get to work on my swing, I guess, and work on my
Okay.
a little
All
bit.
right.
That's what I do for fun.
Well, golf is a good sport because it's a lifelong sport.
It
So
is a
that's good.
lifelong sport.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Paige, you're
Yeah.
19 years old. You've been racing for quite a few years. How did you get started and where did you get started?
Yeah, so my stepdad raced street stocks at the local track here in Indiana, Bearfield. That's because that's where I'm from, is Fort Wayne. He raced those when he met my mom, and we'd kind of go to the races. Me and my brother, we'd watch and stuff. And I was like, this is something like I want to do. Like I'm very interested in it. Mom, on the other hand, was like, we're good. We'll go to school. We'll do sports, t-ball, stuff like that. My dad brought home a go-kart one day. Mom wasn't too big of a fan of that. I, however, was a huge fan, and I started racing. They had a little asphalt track inside of Fairfield at the time, so that's where I started my motorsports career in
Uh,
2013.
2013. So, how old would you have been then? Nine?
Yep, somewhat 9, 10,
Yeah.
10.
Okay. And were there any other girls racing around that time?
No, so actually, on the division that I was in, I raced cage karts. We didn't really get many cars over there. I think we were lucky to get like a 10 car night. I mean, it was pretty mild for that. Now, my second year in go karts, when I switched over to dirt, I did race against a few different females.
Okay. All right. Because, really 10 years ago, there weren't near as many girls racing as there
No,
is now.
no, there's a lot. There's a lot more. There is a lot more, in
There
all
is a,
divisions, all aspects, whether that be asphalt, drag, circle track, whatever.
right. Absolutely. So now you're involved with Rev Racing and Drive for Diversity. So let's talk about that
Yes.
a little. I get questions all the time from parents. How do I get my daughter noticed? How do
hmm
how do I get her to the next level? So tell me your journey. How did you get to where you are then today?
Well, obviously, I started in the go karts, and then from 2017 to 2019, I took a break. Just didn't race anything. There's just some personal stuff going on with my family, with my father, and stuff that some stuff we had to figure out. And then in 2019, I hopped in a full size late model at Angola Motor Speedway here in Indiana, and I did the local racing from 2019 to 2021, well, 2020 through 2022, but I guess it was more of a hobby when I was younger as a kid. I never saw it as something that I could go out and achieve. It was just I really like doing this. I have a fun. It's fun with my family. But the older I got, the more I realized this is kind of what I want my career to be. Like I don't just want this to be something I do for fun on the side until it fizzles out. So at that time, I realized, what do I have to do to go make it work? Because the dream doesn't work for you if you don't work for the dream, obviously. And racing is a big part because racing isn't just about talent. It's about
Right.
money. It's about marketability. It's also about talent. I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into succeeding inside the motorsports world. So I started doing my research. I would say in 2021, and I stumbled across Rev Racing, and I had been following them all through 2021, all through 2022. I sent out an email last March, and I never got a reply back. So I drove down there on my spring break. So I drove down 2 weeks later, walked in the front door, and was like, "What do I have to do to get here? Like, I want to be here. This isn't just like something I'm going to apply for. Like, I want to know how to do it." And they were super duper helpful. They showed me around the facility. They got me in contact with a few other people, and then I went through the application process like every other person would. You apply in June or whatever, then you go to the combine, all that stuff. But really sticking my foot in the door, I think, is something that cemented my place there,
Mm-hmm.
direction that my career was about to take, because that's a step that not a lot of people take. Everyone says they want the dream or they want it to work, but they're not necessarily willing to put their foot in the door.
Well, I think the fact that you went there
hmm
is that's something that most people don't do. And so the fact that you went there in person, just saying, "Hey, here I am. How do I get here permanently?"
Exactly.
And they were probably a little taken back and a little, be like, "Oh, she's serious. She drove from Indiana here, so
They
she's
were.
really serious." Don't you think that was a big part of it?
Yeah, I think so. Because I walked in and they were a little shocked that I was there because they're like, oh, well, we've never had anyone do this before. So they didn't know how to go about it. But they were very, very good at showing me around and getting me accustomed with what was going on. But at the end of the day, that still wasn't going to be enough to get me into the program. I still had to go through all the steps to get into it, like applying and such. But
Right.
that showed the passion that I have for racing. That showed the dedication and the hard work that I put in. Because I think sometimes a lot of people forget that with these sorts of developmental programs is just because you got the spot because of something doesn't mean you haven't worked equally as hard as someone else to get that position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what kind of car are you driving? What does this program look like? What do you do on an average day or over the course of the time you're going to be there? What are you going to be doing?
So right now I drive late model stock cars in the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series for Rev Racing. We have those. We have a Legend Car program, and we have an ARCA Menards program in the East and in the National Series level. So right now I'm participating in the late model stuff. Hopefully next year I'll be in their ARCA car doing something with their ARCA program. I mean, that all just varies on results and
Mm-hmm.
the higher ups, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
On a typical day, I get up at 6:30 every morning. I wake up, check my emails, kind of go through that stuff, see what I got going on on the racing side of things and then on the work side of things as well with schoolwork and stuff. We work out every morning, Monday through Thursday from 8 to 10. We do stuff in the gym and then we kind of do some reaction time stuff because that's, when you're driving 140 miles an hour, things can happen pretty quick.
Sure.
You got to be ready and prepared for that. And then we go into sim training on iRacing. We kind of preparing for a race that we have coming up, or maybe we didn't do as well as we could have at the race before. So kind of working through some stuff on the simulator. Spend a lot of time in the shop working on cars or helping the guys out, maybe running to go get parts. Watch a lot of film. We do a lot of outreach events with different people in the community, different colleges, different sorts of events and fundraisers and stuff like that as well.
Okay. And how long will you be? Is this like 12 months of the year that you're in this program?
Yes. So it's a year-long contract.
Okay. So the contract ends when? Back in the spring again? So
December. It'll end.
December.
Yep.
Okay. So if you stay or move up or whatever, you'll know, by the end of the year, and then you'll know whether you're going to stay and do more or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what's your favorite thing about driving a race car?
Well, I think my answer's changed over the years too. So there's definitely something I enjoy about driving, and there's things I enjoy not necessarily about being in the car, but being a race car driver. So on the driving side, I love the adrenaline. I feel like it's kind of an escape place for most drivers because if you ask them how they're feeling out there, I don't think they can really give you a good answer because there's so much going on, you kind of lose yourself. And I think that's a really freeing feeling. So that's probably my favorite part about driving the car. But now with what I do, I think my favorite part about being a race car driver is being a role model for young people, old people, and everyone in between. For a long time, racing was a pretty selfish desire of mine. I wanted to do well for myself and myself only because that's the only thing that mattered and that's the only thing I had. But now that I'm in the position that I'm in and I'm moving up, I think it's more important that I'm a role model for others around me and I do well for others around me. So that's something I now enjoy more than I did before.
Yeah. And that just comes with maturity and experience. And, even now, you look at race car drivers, NASCAR drivers, whatever, yes, they'll bump their teammate or their mother or whoever to win a race. And that's okay. Because when it comes down to that, they're there to win for not just themselves, but their sponsors and their team. So I get that. But at a lower level, where there's not millions of dollars on the line, I think the fact that you understand that there's a lot more to racing than driving the car. And that is the thing that will stay with you throughout your life.
Yes.
Because if you can't, something happens tomorrow and you can't drive a car anymore, you still have all those other things that you've learned. And so that, I think racing teaches young people, especially, so much more than what people on the outside understand. And
there's a lot of factors that play into it. It's definitely been a huge part of creating, I guess, and molding my personality and me as a person. If I wasn't a race car driver, I know I wouldn't be the person I am today. I think that's where my competitiveness comes from, my fiery spirit, my passion. I mean, there's so many personality traits I've developed because of racing, and it carries into all different sorts of my life. And I think even at the local level, it doesn't matter if you're racing a front wheel drive or you're racing in the NASCAR Cup Series, there's some kid, some way, shape, or form, or some adult that wants to be like you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've got $1 million behind you, if you got $10 to your name. I mean, there's someone out there that wants to be something like you, whether you show some sort of quality off the track, some sort of quality on the track, they see that. So I think it's important to recognize that.
Yeah, I do too. Absolutely. So have you had a race or a special moment in your career that's like the one that you just always remember the most?
Yeah, it's going to be my first win. So that came at Corrigan Oil Speedway in Michigan in 2021. I was so close all year long, just bad luck would happen. And I really love the track and the promoters. They do such a great job. I love getting able to race up at that track. So it's a shame that it's going to close down after this year.
Yeah.
But that first win, all my family was there. My mom wasn't there. That kind of sucked. But just something I had worked so hard for and wanted so bad for so long that it's kind of hard in racing because there's only one winner.
Yeah.
There's 20 other losers. So something you didn't think necessarily was going to happen, and then it did. And I would say that's probably the same with Rev Racing getting into this program. That would have to be equal with my first win because I've worked 10 years of my life. We're going on 10 years now of hard work and dedication and missing out on events just
Hmm.
opportunity, like a chance, like a 10% chance that racing would work out.
Yeah.
And here it is. And
Yeah.
I do it all over again. Even if it wouldn't work out, I love racing enough that it doesn't matter. I'd give up anything to be in the position that I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's there's only a handful of opportunities
Exactly.
then, and you have one of them. So you're obviously making the most of that for sure. So do you get to choose your car number and how it looks or no?
So not anymore. So up until this point, we have been able to at Rev, but Rev is trying. They're making big strides in the program. Obviously, the program has been great, but they're trying to make it even better. And one of the things they're trying to implement is just like team members. So when you think of Rev Racing, you think of 2, 4, 6 instead
Oh,
of this year it's 30 and next year it's 88. And
okay.
so it kind of created a little bit of confusion, as you could see, because there was no number necessarily designated to the team like Hendrix. When you think of Hendrix,
Right.
think 548, 88, 24.
Yeah.
But now we're trying to move more towards that side of things and just everyone come in and pick your number every year and then it go away.
I
So
think that's a really good idea. That's a
yeah,
really good idea. Yeah, for sure. So what's your number then?
I'm 2 now. I was 88, now I'm 2.
Okay. All right. Number two. That's
I'm
great. And what colors are your car?
So it's fine actually. I love the colors because it's what I like. It's missing the gold, but it is red, black, and white, which are my colors at home. The only thing I
Okay.
add is gold. So we're
Okay.
basically there.
All right. So you're happy with the
I'm
color and the
I'm
number
happy.
both.
I'm happy with the colors and the number.
So if you go into the shop and you help with the car, I know you said, you run errands and that, but are you able to be hands on at all with your car?
Yes. So we are able to be hands-on. Now, there are things that they're doing that I have no idea about. And back
Right.
home, I was all hands on. All hands on deck. I did everything, did the shocks, did everything. And out here, there are people that know a lot more than I know. So I let them take control in those parts and any way I can help. I do a lot of parts running, like I said, but whether it be mounting body panels or I pulled a rear end out of my car. Just stuff like that,
Hmm.
simple things. I can pull the shocks off and stuff, but when it comes down to those specialties now, like building the shocks and setting them up and pick up points and stuff, I kind of leave that to the professionals.
Well, and you're kind of moving up in racing to where that's what you have to do.
Yeah,
You have to let the people who've been trained for that do that for sure.
yeah, but people do their job.
Absolutely. So, what would you say has been your biggest obstacle in your racing career?
Well, it was getting the opportunity, honestly. That's been the biggest thing. It's never been a lack of passion or desire because I've always wanted it, but there was really no good way to make it work. And I think a lot of people struggle with that out there, and that's why everyone's not race car drivers. Um,
Hmm.
excuse me. I know there's been a lot of people that have had the talent, had the drive, and had the passion, and just not found the opportunity.
Right.
Um, but
That's right.
I looked very hard. I looked in every corner of the earth that I could. I was getting down to, I was in school to be a doctor, and that wasn't working out. And I knew I wanted to do something with racing, and my life had kind of fallen apart a little bit because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I want this so bad, but I don't know how to make it work. And I started searching and calling people and sending emails and getting a hold of companies. I mean, I was doing everything that I could. I would be sitting in biology where I'm supposed to be taking notes. I'd be sending emails to companies about sponsorships and stuff. So that never losing that drive and that passion for racing is the reason that I am where I am. So I think that was the hardest thing,
Hmm.
was getting the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's so hard when you want something so badly, and it can be frustrating and overwhelming and scary all at once, but it's a good example. You've been a good example when you say how hard you worked and how much you reached out and all that is a good example for young people to find their passion or their dream and then not let go of it easily.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to veer off to a different path,
Mhm.
and that's okay. But to work hard, I think you've been a good example of that. As far as you know not giving up. You could have sat in biology, and maybe that's why medical didn't go so good. You were sending racing emails instead of watching
I probably
biology.
saved more lives by quitting medicine than pursuing it.
Yeah. There you go. So I think you've done a really good job about persevering and making sure that you could do what you wanted to do, at least be on the path for that. So now,
Yeah.
how do marketing partners work? Do you have to help find those? Who funds the whole racing that you're doing?
Yeah. So I don't have to find any marketing partners if I don't want to. So my I can if I want to. I can bring in ones, and I'm obviously always going to try to do that. I mean, the more you can
Right.
bring in, the more you race. So
Yeah.
I've ever since I've got down to North Carolina, that's all I've done is still reach out to companies all the time. So sometimes I might be bad at getting back to text messages and certain messages, but I'm sending out stuff all the time. So Max Siegel, who owns our team Rev Racing, he funds our program along with NASCAR, Advanced Auto Parts. We have a lot of great sponsors, Habana Breza. All of them come in and give
Okay.
a certain amount to our program, but it is mainly funded through like Rev Racing in general. But they do bring in sponsors like Gamebridge is big for our truck program with Nick Sanchez at
Yeah.
KBM. Just like it's still Rev Racing's truck program and stuff, but we've had
Right.
a lot of good sponsors come in over the years, and obviously we're always looking for more.
Yeah, for sure. And it's such a good program, and it's got such a good reputation that I would think, that wouldn't be as hard as, somebody who's just trying to do it on their own. So,
Exactly, we have a good reputation behind us, and I think companies, one, like that reputation. Obviously, you want to be a winner, and two, the morals and stuff we stand behind. I think
yeah,
companies come in, they see that, and they also want to be a part of that journey.
I agree. So, Paige, every day at the racetrack is not per- perfect. Sometimes we have bad days. What do you
Yes.
do when you've had a bad day?
Oh, I'm probably not the greatest example for this. I've been working on this a lot since I got down here. Is trying to not get in my head as much. I think sometimes when I have a bad situation, whether that be a qualifying run or a first race or something, I kind of let it affect me.
Hmm.
Um, just because I'm so passionate about it. It's easy to get overworked about something. It's easy to get upset or too joyful. Emotions are heightened in racing. I mean, you're spending a
Yeah,
lot of money. There's a lot of stuff on the line. So trying to take a step back is what I'm trying to do. So this weekend I didn't necessarily have the best first race. I took a step back in between the first and the second race and just kind of calmed down and said, we're going to go make something happen. The race is going to happen, whether you want it to or not, it's going to happen. So you have to go out there and execute the best that you can. I think when I stop playing the comparison game,
hmm,
a lot better about what I do. So when I go to the gym every day, I go to the gym. There's going to be people that can lift more than me. There's going to be people that run faster than me, but I'm going to go work out the hardest that I possibly can. It goes the same on the simulator. I'm not the best at simulator. I get beat all the time, but I'm going to do it the best I possibly can. The
yeah.
second I started doing things the best I possibly could, things got better for me.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
Yes,
Have
it
you
is. I've
ever
heard.
heard that?
Yes, I
Hmm.
have.
Yeah, I've heard that many times, and I've reminded myself of that many times
It's
because
hard.
it's easy to compare yourself to
Mhm.
someone else, and then all that does is take you down. You've got to put that away. Yeah, for sure. So, do you get a chance to interact with the fans at all? I know, racing's just kind of getting going, but even in the past, I know it's easier when you're at a small track and that. But how do you interact with the fans? What do you like about that part of it, or do you like it? Some drivers are not crazy about interacting
Yeah.
with fans,
Yeah.
but how do you feel about that, and what have you done, or what are you going to do so that you can you know um, make some new fans of Paige Rogers?
Yeah, so obviously I did a lot of it back home on autograph nights and stuff like that, or just people walking through the pits. And that's the same that it is now. I mean, people that walk through the pits, I've had my parents sitting up in the stands, people get to talking to them, and they have these kids that want to see you're this girl. And I think being a girl kind of helps with that in a sense.
It does.
I want the girl's autograph. And
Yeah.
I get a lot of requests through Rev, like that people sending in letters for signed hero cards and autographs. I get those on social media as well. But I love interacting with the fans. I think that's one of the, like I said, more important things that we do as drivers, and not necessarily drivers, but athletes in general. There are a lot of eyes on athletes, and
Hmm.
it's a known thing that athletes and professionals have a heavy influence on the people that are watching them. I mean,
Right.
that's why sponsors endorse drivers is because people see that driver and they want to support that brand because that driver uses that brand or is in like
Absolutely.
so
Hmm.
that having that connection with the fans is very important to success the farther and higher up you get. So I love it personally because I was once that fan. I
Yeah.
was that person that wanted to be that driver and have that opportunity, and now I'm the person with it. So it's only right of me to encourage kids so that anytime someone asks me how I did it or how I got there or what to do, I'm more than willing to help.
So along that line, if you had a mother or dad come up to you at the racetrack and say, my daughter's been watching you, she wants to get started in racing, what would be your advice?
So I've actually had that happen quite a few times already this year.
Doesn't surprise me.
I'll tell every, and I preach this in every single interview I've ever done, every single person I've ever talked to, is passion breeds success. If the passion is there, the success will follow. I think sometimes people have the want for things. They want to be a good race car driver. They want to be a good student. They want to be a good athlete, but they forget the dedication that it takes to get to that point.
Hmm.
Just wanting to be a race car driver isn't enough. And
Yeah.
I'm not, and I don't mean that in a mean way. You have to put in the work. So like for me, that what that looked like was being in the shop in the summer, missing out on football games and basketball games, not being able to play all the sports that I wanted to or that I did when I was younger. I mean, I didn't go to a single graduation party. It was
Hmm.
popular in high school, had a lot of friends, didn't go to a single graduation party. But that's what passion and success in racing looked like for me. Now, everyone's road is different depending on how much money your parents have or the types of resources you have and what kind of racing you do, but I never lost sight of that. There was days that I wanted to, there was days I didn't want to go to the race shop and I wanted to go to the lake and be a normal kid.
Yeah.
I always saw the bigger picture, and I think that's the biggest thing I tell parents and kids and people that want to get into it is it's not about the days that you do want to do it. It's about the days that you don't want to do it. And those
Absolutely.
work the hardest because
Yeah.
that's when stuff happens. Stuff happens
Hmm.
when you don't want to do it and you go do it. That's when the real work shows.
Yeah, I can't think what the exact quote is or even who said it, but success is built in the off season or
Yes.
in the gym, not on race day.
Hmm.
And that's good for any career, football, basketball,
Yes.
anything. It's and so you're so right about that. Um, yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about goals. What are your goals for your racing career?
I have a lot. So on side of driving in the car, I want to make it obviously to the top level of NASCAR. I want to make it in the Cup Series and win races and win championships. That's the goal of any driver, obviously.
Hmm.
Secondly, on the being a race car side of things, I want to be the best role model that I can be for men and women inside and outside the sport, and grow my brand. I think that's a big thing you have to do as a professional in any field, is grow your brand as a person, because networking is really what life is all about. It's really about who you know and not necessarily what you know.
It is.
Because the
It
people that
is.
you know will teach you what you need to know. So it's
Exactly.
no. So growing my brand is something that I've been working really hard on. I'm in the middle of starting a few cool cool things right now, like a nonprofit
Hmm.
and stuff. I want to be interactive with the community. That's a really important thing to me. Giving back, because I have been blessed with so much in my life that it is only fair that can give back.
Yeah. My dad has been passed away for quite a number of years, but one of his favorite things to say was, "It's not what you know, it's who you know." And
Yes.
I live by that. And not
Mhm.
so much that I depend on somebody else for my success or anything, but it's connections. It's the connections that you make, the relationships that you build. In fact, I've got some things going on that, and it's all about, I talk to somebody, you don't know who they know. And
Mhm.
then she said, "Oh, you need to talk to so and so." And so
Mhm.
now, tomorrow I'm going to have a call with somebody I would have never known of, been connected to, or anything.
Exactly.
And it's just such a blessing, but you have to put yourself out there to do that.
Mhm. It,
I was the one that have reached out to this woman about something entirely different, about motorsports, but not in this way at all. And we talked almost 2 hours on the telephone. And if you know me at all, I am not a telephone person. I
I'm not
mean,
either.
you can text me, you can email me. I love to talk to people in person or like this,
Mhm.
but I'm not really a phone person as
Mhm.
much as, maybe some people are. My husband's a phone person. He has all these buddies that he calls and they talk about hunting and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do that. So, the what not what you know, it's who you know is so, so true. And it can really benefit you in so many ways.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you get to the top level of cup, then we can look back on this day in 2023 and say, "Hey Paige, you remember when we did that interview and you said you wanted to be the top level of in a cup racer?" And those are
Mhm.
the things that I look forward to when I interview, especially younger gals,
Mhm.
that have everything in front of them. And you know, one of the kids that I've watched, and everybody knows this, is Carson Hocevar. I've watched him race quarter midgets from the time he was young. He raced against my granddaughters, and I got to know his family, and I've really been a fan of him just because he is from here, and I know him personally. And so um, I have so many girls and women that I've interviewed that I feel like are friends now, and I really follow their careers more than they probably realize. And it's just fun, and um, it's worthwhile for me to do this so that
Mhm.
I mean, you're getting your name out there, but there's a lot of people that still don't know who Paige is. And so
Yeah.
if you can share this through a podcast, or we can do something for you down the road to help you get your name
Mhm.
out there, that's what it's all about. Getting people to know, who is Paige Rogers, what does she do, what is she passionate about, and that's just such a big part of your success, not just how well you drive that car.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've raced against your granddaughter before.
Oh, probably because both of them
I
raced.
believe.
Yeah. Both of them
Yeah.
raced, McKenna and Maddie. So, yeah, I'm sure you probably did at some point, especially if you were at
McKenna.
Kalamazoo's.
Yeah,
McKenna,
McKenna. her. I
I
raced
would,
against her at Springport,
yeah.
and I raced against her at New Paris. That would have
Okay.
been a couple years ago, and I think I raced against her at Kalamazoo too.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, for sure. So, do you think there's any benefits, or have there been any unexpected benefits or challenges of being a girl or a woman in racing?
Yeah. So obviously one of the benefits that I get to reap the rewards of now obviously is rev racing.
Hmm.
But like I said, just because I'm there because of who I am doesn't mean I haven't worked hard to get there.
Right.
And anyone close to me or that knows my journey and the things that I have gone through to get where I am will tell you the exact same thing. I have been so dedicated for so long and had just tunnel vision towards this goal of getting to a certain point in my career.
Yeah.
Challenges, I don't want to necessarily say any challenges, but it is different. So obviously, racing has been a predominantly male white man sport for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
But I think the generation that I'm coming in and the programs that I'm in have like what we do and other programs out there and people, the word getting out there that the sport is changing. I definitely see it. I've seen
Yeah.
it in like we talked about the last 10 years. I've seen it. Now
Hmm.
I go to a track out in North Carolina and there's girls everywhere. Or I
Right.
go to Millbridge on a Wednesday night and there's girls right there. I mean, it's just you see they're everywhere now, which is
Yeah.
great. I love that. So I think the barrier for being a woman in motorsports is being knocked down ever so slightly. It's getting chipped away at, which is
Hmm.
Rome wasn't built in a day, so the wall won't be
Right.
down in a day either.
Right.
But
I'm going to have to get you the names. I've got, there's at least two girls that I've interviewed that race at Millbridge quite often. I'll have to get
mhm,
you their names. And if you go there sometime, you know, go see them because they're quite a bit younger than you. You
mhm,
know, I would ask you to go see them and talk to them and just make friends and give them someone that they can look up to as well from there because there's a I know I Millbridge is on my bucket list if you can believe that. I mean, I have a bucket list of racetracks to get to, and
mhm,
I know so many people that race at Millbridge, and you hear about it all the time. And
yeah,
I've interviewed the woman that owns the track, her and her husband, and so that's on my bucket list. I want to go there and check that out. But I'll get you their names, Paige, and
thank you.
you can check those out. So you know, you're 19. You've got a lot of years yet to do this, but how do you think you will make an impact, or how would you hope that you would make an impact on motorsports someday when you're too old to drive and you're retired and you're like and you look back on your life and you say, this is how I made an impact. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so that's the goal at the end of the day for me is to make an impact. I don't want to be a driver that has come in and passed and no one knows who they are or what they did. So if I don't ever do anything in my race career on the driving side, like if people don't remember me for being the greatest driver ever, which that's up for interpretation on all parts. I
Right.
want to make an impact in all people's lives. I want to be someone that was part of the change, the initiative to bring more women into sport. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just stop at that. I don't want to just see more women get in the sport. I want to see more women get into all male dominated fields. I also want to see men get into more female dominated fields. I want people to take away from this that if you have the passion for the thing that you do, and if you put in the hard work, you can do whatever you want. I want people to do what they love because when you start to see people doing what they love and loving what they do, it makes the world go round. And
Yeah.
I think sometimes the world's lost that bit of passion and kids and teenagers feel more pressured into maybe they have to go to college or they have to do this specific field or trade because they think that's the only way that their life's going to work out.
Yeah.
So it's okay to not have it figured out right away. It's okay to not take a traditional path in a sense to what your career is. And that's the impact I want to have is that if you love what you do and you do what you love, it's going to work out. It's fine. It's great. That's what you're meant to do. That's what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's talk about social media for a minute here. It's big. You're the age that is really big. How do you use social media to promote yourself, your race team? What platforms do you use? And then as part of that, do you think social media overall is a help or a hindrance?
So I'm trying to get better at it. I'm not very good at. I'm not terrible, but I'm not good by any means. I'm trying to work at it. We use Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, starting a YouTube channel to start doing different sorts of stuff on, because that's big. There's TikToks. Don't really do much on that. But there's all. I have a website. There's all different forms, and we try to be on as many forms, if not all of them. But I think it helps. I think it's good for sponsors. I think when you're using it in that sort of way,
Yeah.
or as a recap, I think it works well, and I think sponsors really like that. They want to be able to give more money if you make ads or posts about them or whatever. But I also do think it hinders a lot of things because one, people don't feel like they have to attend the races to get the results or what's going on, which can go either way. I mean,
Yeah.
I've felt for that too. But I think sometimes it creates a false expectation, a false reality. I think because so many people talk on social media and so much is out there and so much is being said that it can have negative effects on your performance. Or if you have a bad performance, that might have went from, oh, it really only looked like this, but now it's been blown out of proportion and this.
Right.
So it has its pros and it has its cons, just like
Mhm.
in all forms of life. But
Yeah.
I've had it go both ways. I've had it really help me before, but I've also had it kind of been like, oh, maybe it wasn't
Well, I think that's true of if there is somebody out there that hasn't had some kind of negativity,
that.
uh, you know, on themselves by social media, I'd like to meet that person because I don't
Yeah.
think there is anybody. But I think the social media thing has really and overall is probably more of a help than a hindrance. At least
Mhm.
for me, that's how I meet people.
Exactly.
I mean, I've met people from all over the world just
Mhm.
because of motorsports and then through social media. So that part of it, and as long as we set the example ourselves for what we post and what we do, and we don't get drug into conversations that take
Yeah.
us down, 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 then, I think it's actually a really good thing.
Mhm.
So because
When used in
it
a
would
good
be
way.
hard for me to get to all the racetracks and
Mhm.
follow all of
Yeah.
you girls that are racing. um but social media, I can do that. So
You're telling me you can't be at two places at once?
no, I haven't figured that out yet. Yeah, not
Yeah,
yet.
no, it's definitely when you use it in the right way and you can get past the negativity that also comes with it, it is a good thing.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to learn as an individual is one to not respond and to two not take it to heart because people
Yeah.
are going to say what they want to say. So
Right. And sometimes there's nothing you can do to change their minds, and
nope,
it's not worth your time to do it.
exactly,
So,
exactly.
so I would guess if we went to Rev Racing, that we could find your schedule of where you're going to be racing.
So it's kind of up in the air just because it really depends what's going on with ARCA. We're very busy between the truck. We just added the truck team this year, so that's like a really big step. Obviously, one of NASCAR Top 3 series. We're
Right.
running ARCA Elite, so the national series. We're also running ARCA East, and then we have a late model campaign and the Legend Car campaign going on. So it's really just a bunch of stuff going on. So we more work on a month to month basis. So at the beginning
Okay.
of the month, we kind of get together and say, this is our plan for this month.
Okay.
You.
But would that be where we would go to find that, like the schedule of
On
who's?
all social media. So we'll post uh,
Okay.
when the time comes. It'll be like, this is what's coming up for this month for drivers in this
Okay.
program in this section of the program.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So we're going to do a fun little thing called quick answers.
Okay, quick
So I'm going
answer.
to ask you some of your favorites, and I don't want you to think too hard on it,
Okay.
and if something I ask you, you don't have one, just say I don't have one. Okay.
All right.
You
I'm ready.
ready?
I'm
All
ready.
right. What's your favorite food or restaurant?
Favorite food? Seafood. I love seafood.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Red.
Favorite animal?
Oh, shoot. Dogs. I'm gonna go with dogs.
Favorite vacation destination or somewhere you would like to go?
I haven't really been anywhere because of racing. But, I would say Italy. I'd want to go to Italy. Agreed.
Okay. Favorite candy?
Ooh, anything sour.
Sour Patch Kids?
Yep, I'm a Sour Patch Kids type of girl.
I cannot tell you how many answers are
Okay.
Sour Patch Kids, and that's
Sour
one
Patch Kids.
can't do it. Can't do it. Favorite racetrack?
Oh, ooh, that's a hard one. I'm gonna go with Citrus County Speedway in Florida.
Okay. And why? Why is that your favorite?
I had a good showing there when I did the Wheelman series with the sportsman car down there last year.
Okay.
It was
All
really
right.
fun, cool experience, and that's when I figured out that I made it into the combine for Rev. So the weekend total was good.
Okay. Memorable weekend. So, do you have a favorite movie or actor or actress?
Do I have a favorite movie? I don't. I mean, I like Ford versus Ferrari. That was a really good
Yeah,
movie.
it was good.
Um, I'm not like a romantic type of person. I like the comedies. I like
Have you ever
the
seen The Art of Racing in the
Force of the
Rain?
Rain. Yes, because I love dogs. I did see that. Oh, I love Marvel. Like
Oh,
I'm a
yeah.
Marvel fanatic. Every
Okay.
Marvel movie, I'm a Marvel junkie.
Okay.
It's
That's good.
insane.
How about music? What kind of music do you like?
I love old rock and roll. So anything from 70s, 80s, 90s.
Oh, from my era.
Yep. I love the Eagles. I love AC/DC.
Yeah, me too.
Notes. I love it all. Anything from 70s, 80s.
Awesome. Well, you would enjoy my collection of music then for sure.
Yes, I would.
How about a favorite sports team outside of racing?
True. Um, I like college sports.
Yeah.
Iowa women's basketball did do really well. That was pretty awesome to
That
see.
was heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking. LSU had a really good team.
They did.
Like I mean, it was going to be kind of hard, and Kim Mulkey's obviously very good at her job. So
Yeah.
I love
And
I love.
she dresses.
Yes,
You
she
just
does.
you got to tune in just to see what she's going to wear.
She dresses for success. So obviously, I'm an IU fan, and Caitlin Clark scored that shot to beat us. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I did like seeing that championship run. That was super cool. I
Yeah.
like obviously on the men's side too. IU fan. We didn't make it
Yeah.
very far,
Yeah.
but that was cool, kind of to see a bunch of different underdogs, I guess, make it to
It
the final
really was.
tournament.
My
Um,
bracket was busted the first day.
I had Zaga all the way, and that did not happen. So.
No, no, for sure. I remember when they were the underdog one year.
Mhm.
Nobody'd ever heard of them, and then they turned out to be pretty good. So, do you have a favorite professional race car driver?
Yes, I do. It's Kyle Larson. I'm sure a lot of people probably give that answer, and the reason behind that is because he can literally get in anything and be fast. And that's
Yeah,
something I admire is that adaptability.
yeah, absolutely. Favorite holiday?
Christmas. I love Christmas.
Favorite TV show, Netflix? Do you binge watch anything?
Oh, I don't really have a lot of time to watch Netflix
Yeah,
anymore,
I
but
know.
I try to just watch random things when I have the
Okay.
chance.
Last thing, favorite thing to celebrate?
Favorite thing to celebrate? Winning, obviously. Number one, baby. That's my favorite
Winning.
thing to
There
celebrate.
you go.
I haven't got to
Nothing
do it much
better.
recently, but it is my favorite thing to celebrate. So it makes it
Absolutely.
all the more sweeter when it happens.
Yeah, it does. Well, Paige, I have really enjoyed talking to you, getting to know you better today. I've been aware of you for a long time, just because you raced in the area, and there really weren't all that many girls, racing. And so, your name would come up on different
Mhm.
Facebook feeds, and people would send me, hey, did you see how Paige did? And so I've probably followed you longer than what you realize, but I really appreciate you taking time to be on and share what you're doing and how you're doing. And so, a couple things I'll ask you to do
Yeah.
when you post something. If you tag Women's Motorsports Network, then I see what you're doing easier than if I have to kind of keep searching, because I get overwhelmed. I get too many girls that I'm trying to follow. And
That's
if you
good.
tag
That's a good
me,
problem to have now, though.
it is, though. Tag me, that would really help. And the other thing, we do a live show as well. My friend Brett Timmerman from Iowa and I do a live show on Sunday nights. And one of the things that he started is, the Women's Motorsports Network is very similar to racing in that we are a family.
Hmm.
So, you have a racing family, and I have a huge racing family, especially the women that I interview
Yeah.
on our shows. And so he started this when we did our first live show, and I've continued it. So, what we like to say is thank you for being on the show with us. And because you have done that and to help us, now you're part of our family. So welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I had a great time. I love
You're,
getting to do these and kind of share my story and what I've been through, and obviously meet new people that have been following me longer than I thought. So I
yeah,
appreciate the support. It means a lot.
absolutely. Well, Paige, good luck this year. I will be watching what's happening. Could be that I'll be somewhere where you're racing, and if so, I'll make sure that I reach out to
Hey,
you. And best of luck to you now and in your career. And when you get to the cup level, don't forget the little people that interviewed you back in the
exactly.
day.
If you, I'll be racing in Michigan next weekend.
Where will you be?
I'll be at Springport on the
Oh,
29th.
okay. All right.
Yep.
Sounds good. Well, I don't know what my next weekend. Let me see. I don't know what next weekend looks like on my calendar. I'm going to have to look that up. But if I can make it over and the weather's not, you know, 20 degrees, I
Yeah.
may try to run over. So that would be great. All right.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Well, Paige, thank you so much. Have a good season and stay in touch.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.